Join us for live coverage of the 2025 NFL Draft right here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report, as we will get you set for the Chiefs pick at 31 overall. We're planning to go live around 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern. Don't miss out. And the best part about it, you can subscribe and join us for free, youtube.com/ChiefsTV to subscribe now. Turn on your notifications. That way you're the first to know when we go live. And in the lead up to the draft, we've been doing this sub battle with our fellow AFC West channels, and we are very close, folks. We're a little bit behind with 1 day to go to win this sub battle. If you want to stick it to the Raiders and the Broncos, subscribe now and join us for our live coverage of the NFL Draft all weekend long right here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Subscribe now for free, and we'll get started with today's show. The wait is almost over. Happy draft day, everybody. It feels like Christmas morning in the Chiefs Kingdom as the Kansas City Chiefs get to improve their roster and try to get back to the Super Bowl once again. And tonight is a great chance for this team to get just a little bit better. Who will they select in round number 1 to get this draft started? Well, according to a new report from the folks at Arrowhead Pride, the SB Nation site covering the Chiefs, it is down to 3 options for Kansas City of who could hear their name called this evening when Brett Veach and company hand the card over to the commissioner, Roger Goodell. Here's more from Arrowhead Pride. The team previously met with Simmons, where they likely concluded a thorough evaluation of his existing medical records. If Simmons is healthy and on the board, there's a strong sense the Chiefs would like to take him and solidify their position for the future. If not, they have a chance to draft a potential defensive cornerstone and defensive tackle. Kenneth Grant from Michigan and Ole Miss corner Trey Amos could be on the radar. Grant is a massive defensive tackle prospect with the capability of being one of the first defensive linemen off the board. But due to the depth of the class, is being pigeonholed into more of a run-stuffing role. Amos was a lockdown corner in college and would be a great fit for the Chiefs. Having a solid outside option could help transition Trent McDuffie back to the inside. There seems to be a growing momentum based on the people that I've talked to over the last couple of days that the Chiefs very well could pick a defensive lineman. And the talk was, over the last couple of months, the focus on the offensive line. But with the way we've seen kind of the board shift, where whether it's a Kenneth Grant that's an option or a Derek Harmon, there is a belief that one of these big-time defensive linemen could end up being available when Kansas City picks at 31. So that could be a possibility. Simmons appears to be the top offensive line option. And then Trey Amos, if you do decide to go corner, isn't a bad idea either if you're the Kansas City Chiefs. So let's let you be Brett Veach. If you had to pick one to draft, would you rather at 31 go with Josh Simmons, Kenneth Grant, or Trey Amos? Type JS for Josh Simmons, KG for Kenneth Grant, TA for Trey Amos. Weigh in our pinned comment today and let us know. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time. Game Time is the place to go for the best seats, the lowest prices guaranteed. Recently, I got to go with the fam to an Oklahoma City Thunder game. Love me some NBA action. Maybe you can't make it down to Oklahoma City for the playoffs. That's okay. There's plenty of events in Kansas City, like seeing your Royals, for example. Maybe it's Sporting KC, the Current, whatever it may be. You choose the event you want to go to. You got the prices listed. You choose your seat, see if you like that seat or not, and then boom, just like that, you're checking out on Game Time with Apple Pay, Google Pay, Venmo, all major credit card providers. And it's best on short notice, too. Maybe decide on a whim you want to go to a game. The prices go down the closer it gets to when the event starts. And you can save that money that you're saving on tickets and use it for buying food, drinks, merchandise, or more easily get a larger group to come with you. Game Time is the official ticketing partner of the Kansas City Chiefs Report, where they offer last-minute deals where you can save up to 60% off buying for sports, concerts, comedy shows, theater productions, and more. Game Time Picks makes last-minute ticket buying easier than ever by quickly highlighting the best deals in the stadium. They have their zone deals where you can save even more when you choose a section and let Game Time choose the seats. They have their all-in pricing. Toggling this feature shows the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. They have their seat views. You can get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. The lowest price is guaranteed, or GameTime will credit you 110% of the difference. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code ChatSports for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download the GameTime app today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. GameTime, check out GameTime in the link and comments of today's video. You'll be glad you did. So let's start with Josh Simmons. I think he's got more good than bad. I understand that there is some concerns with the medical on him. But if he were fully healthy, he would likely be the best offensive lineman in this entire draft. So there's some value here if you get him at 31. We've talked about in the past that because the Chiefs pick so late in the draft, typically every year, that they've missed out on some of these offensive linemen. And now it's a bit of a risk, but I think it's one worth taking if his medicals have checked out with the examinations that Kansas City has done. And I know that some of you may say, well, you signed Jalen Moore. Why would you need to draft Simmons if you just paid for a starting left tackle? Well, that's only going to help out Jalen Moore. And maybe Simmons starts at left tackle and Moore plays guard, or vice versa, whatever you may be. You get both of them in your starting lineup, and you have strength in numbers that way. And this fixes the biggest flaw for this Kansas City Chiefs team. The one thing holding this group back from winning another Super Bowl title is the offensive line. You bring in Moore, you bring in Simmons, all of a sudden you're cooking with bacon grease, and this offensive line could be in very good shape. More on Simmons. Began his career at San Diego State, then went on to the Ohio State, where he was a part of a national championship squad. This year was named a third-team All-Big Ten selection as well. His grades, small sample size due to the injuries that he was dealing with, but still had a very good overall grade, 74.4. Pass blocking grade, pretty strong at 82. Needs some work in the run blocking, but did not allow a sack and only got called for one penalty. Also didn't give up any hits and only allowed one hurry. So pass protection, very strong for Josh Simmons there. His scouting report, he's a loose and fluid mover. He's got excellent quickness he brings to the table, very good play strength, inside strike ability to punch. Early in his career, he had a problem with careless penalties. He did a good job of cleaning up that this year, but we'll see if it lasts long term. Meanwhile, the other individuals, let's talk about Kenneth Grant for a moment. Grant is hard to move, which is great to hear when you're talking about a defensive lineman, especially with this Chiefs team looking for potential options to play alongside Chris Jones. He would be a perfect fit as far as that goes. He's got really good size, and I think on top of that, too, this is somebody that would be an immediate impact player. And as Chris Jones gets older, he's probably going to play less and less snaps, and you need somebody that you can depend on to help things out inside, and I think Kenneth Grant can do just that. His numbers the past two seasons, 6.5 combined sacks, 27 pressures this past season, 23 the year prior to that. He was outstanding there with the Michigan Wolverines. And then there's Trey Amos, and when I look at Amos, when I evaluate him, I see a complete corner. Too many times when we talk about the corner position, we look at guys that, okay, maybe they're good in coverage, but they struggle tackling. Maybe they create turnovers, but they give up big plays too. Amos is very well-rounded. He's got good ball skills. He's a solid tackler. Not going to have to worry about a Deion Sanders type tackling effort from him, or if I want to put it in more recent terms, our old friend Marcus Peters didn't like to tackle either. Don't have to worry about that with Trey Amos. But let's be real about this, though. When I talk about the other positions, offensive line, obviously a huge need. Defensive line, that's a big need. Corner, I can ride with what I got for right now, assuming, and that's a big if, you are keeping Jalen Watson, which we don't know at this point in time. If you're keeping Jalen Watson, you have a really good corner room with him, the All-Pro McDuffie. You bring in Christian Fulton. you're in pretty good shape and you got some depth there. But there's a lot of people think that we will see the Chiefs move on from Jalen Watson, or at least not bring him back after his contract is up anyway. More on Trey Amos. Here's what we're talking about here, folks. 3 interceptions, 1 forced fumble. That's 4 total turnovers this past season, along with 16 total pass breakups for the Ole Miss running Rebel. And you look at his coverage stats, just outstanding. An overall grade, QB rating allowed of 54.5. And on top of that, just gave up 280 yards and 2 touchdowns with 32 completions allowed. He held his own. He was really, really good. And I think there's some good value if he's still potentially around at 31. Wouldn't be my first choice, but let me say, I'll wrap up with this when it comes to these 3. We have talked about this many times on this program previously. In Veach, we trust. That Veach knows more than I do. He knows more than you do. And his track record is as good as any GM in the National Football League, especially when it comes to the draft. And I'll say this. If Brett Veach goes with one of these 3 guys tonight, it's going to be hard for, I think, folks to be upset. That this man is a man on a mission. He knows what he's doing, and I trust his instinct of what he's going to do tonight. Sure, there's guys I like more than others, but I would be very surprised if I'm pissed off at the end of the night with what the Chiefs do in the draft. Who's the player the Chiefs should draft? Give me a name. We've gone over a few names. Obviously, there's others out there as well. You're on the clock. Let us know in the comments section. Subscribe now. Make sure and join us for our coverage of the 2025 NFL Draft tonight right here on the Chiefs Report. We'll see you then.